Hey guys, welcome back to Mainstream. I'm Tori.
And I'm Abigail.
And today we're going to be talking about the differences of commuting to school versus dorming.
Yes. I like that you said dorming. That was interesting.
Yeah, living in a dorm.
Okay. I'm going to let you start.
Okay.
And I'll just bounce off of you.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing that I love about living in a dorm is my independence. I don't have to tell anyone where I'm going or what I'm going to do for that day, which sometimes is bad for me because there's no accountability. But also, I can just do kind of whatever I want. I can leave whenever I want. I can buy my own groceries, which I love. So yeah, and I can just walk to class super early.
Yeah, you're very lucky that you get to walk to class.
I can just roll out of bed. Whitehall is only 10 minutes away from my dorm. My class starts at 8. I was getting out of bed at like 7:45.
Oh my gosh, I wish.
Don't do it. It was like brushing my teeth and out the door I went. But gotta keep the hygiene for real.
Yeah. Well, I understand what you say about you have more independence for sure. Like, especially if you're living away from home. Mm-hmm. And like my parents are very strict. But as I've gotten older, they have realized, that and respected that I'm an adult. So I do still have to tell them, if I'm going out or if I'm just leaving the house. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of more of like peace of mind than actually like keeping tabs on me. Mm-hmm. But I do miss at times when I have lived from home and had my own place, just the independence of, that lone wolf, like not have to tell anyone anything, you can just do whatever. But yeah, I do understand what you're saying with independence. Like, there is definitely much more of an independence when you're living by yourself versus like living with your parents, for sure.
Yeah. And along with walking to class, it's also easier access for like clubs or organizations because oftentimes I'll have them later, and I know that some of my commuter friends have issues with like if an event starts at 7 p.m. and their drive is an hour out. Yep. They're not going to get home till 9:30, 10 o'clock, and you still have to do work on top of that.
Yeah, so that is one of the worst parts is, like you said, that a lot of after school and extracurricular activities happen like 5, 6, and later. And I live like 30 minutes away from school. Yeah. But I have friends that live an hour away, 45 minutes away, and it's really hard to justify staying all the way to the end of school, like in the end of school hours, because I have a class that ends at like 12:30. Yeah. So I would have to justify, it's just staying out on campus. I mean, you could get a lot of work done, but if you don't really have anything to do that day, then
it's difficult.
It's really difficult, but... Yeah. Definitely having to make that commute in the morning because you have to get up super early. Like let's say I have a 9:30 class, and when I'm at home, I get up at like 7 or 7:30, and even then, like that's a little late to be getting up to drive out here. But I remember when I had an 8 a.m. class, and I had to get up at 6 in the morning. Oh, it was so bad. Yeah. But
I was getting up at 7:30, like, oh.
Yeah, no, I get up at 7:30 now, and I'm like, why am I up right now? But yeah, definitely, that definitely really stinks. Because then you lose time. Like, Like me, I have a 30-minute commute there and back, so I'm only losing an hour of, like, studying a day. But for others who have to drive an hour, sometimes more. I used to know someone who, like, drove from Homa to here every single day. I can't imagine. Like, that's so much time essentially wasted in traffic and commuting. But, like, you have no choice. And then because you get to walk everywhere and I have a car, I do have more freedom being able to go wherever I want. But I have to pay for gas. And gas is a pain in my side. And... it just kind of changes with the wind. I'm lucky that one of my only expenses is gas. Because since I live with my parents and they cook, thank you for cooking. I get to eat whatever they're eating, so I don't have to worry about like spending money on a meal plan or well, you know, since I live at home, I don't have to worry about paying for dorms, and because that can be pretty pricey.
And along with the cooking, you can't cook. If you don't have an air fryer, you are essentially eating the main dish. Mm-hmm. And that right now is just not working for me. Like, I am not in love with not being able to make food. I want to make food, and the closest I can get to making food is overnight oats.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just not making food. And so it's frustrating because I don't know if you've looked at the back of the frozen dinner boxes, but there's only like one brand that's like moderately healthy. And even then it's got like 260 grams of sodium.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like or you can eat the main dish. But ever since I walked in and it just felt like fried food on my body, I just couldn't do it. I was like, nope.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think I mentioned this before, but I'm a senior. So this is my last semester.
And this is my second semester.
Yeah.
As a freshman.
So I actually lived on campus for my first semester as a freshman. And there are so many good things about like living on campus that we're going to continue to go through. But I find that being a commuter, I do not miss living on campus because, you know, like it's a give and take situation, like where I lose certain things, you gain like more convenience, you know, from living on campus, especially like when it comes to like making connections with people. Yeah. But I do enjoy being able to cook whatever I want to, whenever I want. Like,
and you can step away from school. Like a lot of my life right now, because I don't go home a lot, is Southeastern. Yeah. And that has its bonuses, but it definitely sometimes is unfortunate.
Yeah. It can like put you in this bubble where it's like Southeastern is its own little world. So like everything you hear and do just revolves around Southeastern. And then you go somewhere else and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot that people exist outside of campus.
When I go home, it's very odd for me.
I can see that.
Especially because it's a smaller school, it's so much easier to get in the bubble because the bubble is tiny. So. Yeah. But along with the good things, my favorite thing thus far of living here is the closeness to downtown.
Yes, that's true.
I am in love with downtown because it's safer than where I live. Like, if I go walk, I get nervous walking in the streets of New Orleans sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
But because I am in Hammond, I feel like a little bit safer. I still have that like nervousness. I'm like always like checking over my shoulder, but I feel like that's everywhere I'm gonna go. Yeah. But I can just like walk from my dorm, take a little hot girl walk, get a coffee. Sometimes if I have my backpack on, I'll walk with my backpack and I'll just go to Luma or Courtyard or PJ's and I can just walk there and get a coffee and sometimes get a crate from Courtyard and
I love cups.
Just hang out, and it's peaceful, and it's very, and because I don't have a car, I get the privilege to walk, because I used to be like, but it's actually not that bad, because it gives you time to look at the scenery. I'll look at the houses and be like, one day I'll buy one of these gorgeous houses, as I'm like 18, living in a dorm, but I love it, and it's so beautiful. Yeah.
No, I definitely, I do love how walkable Hammond is. I definitely do not feel the need to use my car when I'm here on campus or just like in Hammond, really, because I mean it's so walkable. You don't need a car. You really don't, unless you
want to go to Covington.
Yeah, or if you need to go to like Walmart or something, like you can't really walk there. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so. It does stink that I live farther away, just in general, but also when there are things going on in downtown Hammond, you are able to walk, and for me, I would have to drive here and then park somewhere, and then I would be able to enjoy walking, and
and then you would have to enjoy walking back to your
and
car.
then I have to enjoy walking back to my car. Yeah. No, but I mean, also when you don't have a car, you don't have to worry about parking on campus. Yep. Parking tickets on campus, even when you park in the right spot. And you also don't have to buy a parking pass. But you know, that
It does lack, but the good thing
It
about
does
living
lack.
on campus is that there's ample opportunities to make friends.
Yeah.
And also, my roommate definitely helps me not having to have a car. Because, like, if you're close with your roommate, even anyone, I feel like everybody's sweet. And the Line Tracks takes trips to
Mm-hmm.
the stores, too.
Yeah, they do.
But definitely, like, making friends who happen to have cars was definitely one of the biggest bonuses and the biggest gifts that they're so sweet and they'll bring me if I ever need to go anywhere.
Yeah, I think everyone's really nice here.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, though, being a commuter and trying to make friends is basically non-existent if you're not in a club or if you don't really get close to anyone in your class. So because it's my last semester, most of my friends have graduated and I don't really know anybody on campus anymore. I mean, I'm lucky to work at the Lions Roar so that I have people there and like I have friends that are still there. But if I wasn't in the Lions Roar, you know, I would only know one person in my classes out of all 5 of the classes that I take, and I only see them on Tuesdays and Thursdays for an hour and a half.
And it can be lonely.
Yeah.
If you're shy.
Yeah, it is. It kind of stinks. As someone, you know, believe it or not, even though I work at the Lions Roar, I am very shy. I don't like to go up and like just talk to people. So it can be a little difficult. I also think that like with everything that happened while we were on lockdown and with COVID, that people aren't as open as they used to be. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of harder to make those like friendship meet cutes or just, you know, run into someone and be like, let's be friends, because everyone's so like we're much more guarded now as just like as a society in general. But, you know, like you said, when you have a roommate or you're living here on campus, you are surrounded by people all the time.
And it's kind of hard to get away, too, because they know where you live.
Yeah, everyone.
And sometimes it's hard to hide because not only do they know where you live, they live in your building.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to get away from people because I'm on the flip side of you. I talk to everyone and I will chat it up. And so I accidentally make friends. And so whenever I'm in my, like, I don't want to talk to anyone zone, you go in the elevator and then it's like, oh, hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, like that you feel like you're always in a
great.
state of interacting, you know?
Yeah, like there's no, like, okay, I can leave campus, take a load off. It's like, you can go to your dorm room, but somebody's there. Somebody's there, and they know where you are. And
well, I'm lucky that I don't have to deal with that because, you know, one of the perks that I have personally living at home, aside from saving lots and lots of money on not having to pay for dorms or the meal plan, is that I have my own room. Yeah. So I have that privacy, and I mean, I still like my parents live at home, and I have younger siblings, but I still have like my own space that I can go and like stay focused and just kind of decompress. Even though you would think that like commuting you would decompress on the car ride home, but I don't decompress on the car ride home. I'm like too busy worried about traffic. But it is nice not having to like see another person's face in your space 24/7.
For me, I have my own room. So I don't share a room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I have my own
room. I had to share a room when I was here.
No. I have my own room, like my own door, it locks.
Wow, that's nice.
I just share a bathroom. We have a little kitchenette.
That's cool.
Yeah, but my boyfriend shares a room. And so now I partially share my room because he shares a room with someone else. So
yeah,
it's
I get that.
Even though you kind of are comfortable and you're in your own space and it's great,
there's always somebody watching.
Always. And it's good, and all of these have their goods. Yeah. Their pros to their cons.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, even though, you know, I don't live on campus, I do have friends who I was gonna say, even though I don't live here on campus, I do still have friends that live in the area, or some of them do live on campus, which gives me an excuse to have sleepovers here. So I get to spend time with my friends, and I also get to benefit from being closer to campus as well. Like if I have an early class or I'm just super busy with work and I can just stay over and not get up almost 2 hours early. I can pull a Tori and get up 15 minutes before my class and still get there on time.
Yep.
But
That's
yeah,
it for me.
I think that's pretty much all I have on my cons, just to like line them out. As a commuter, it's very hard to make friends, and also I was gonna say schedule hangouts.
Yeah.
Because so I have a friend group right now. All 4 of us are commuters, and I am the one who lives the closest. So I live only 30 minutes away, and my other 2 friends live like 45, and I think the other person lives an hour away. So it's very hard for us to match our schedules and to hang out when we are all thinking in our mind as well, okay, well, how is this going to go? Am I going to be leaving during rush hour traffic? Is it safe for me to drive home like that late at night? Because me personally, I live in the country, in the bayou. So I don't like to stay out too late because all the animals are coming out, and it's not really safe to be driving on like all the windy roads at night, and especially when they're like this wide for you in another car. So that is definitely a con that I don't think many people like consider, even if you like used to commute to like high school or something, but now you're living here, it's completely different. But yeah, and I want to say finding parking on campus can be really difficult as a commuter, and also the parking tickets, and then just the commute in general. No one, like, it just gets tiresome, to drive to and from school every single day. And I know a lot of people do this for their jobs as well, but especially when you have to drive somewhere else for your job, that's so much driving every single day.
So you have to drive here, and then you have to drive for your job, and what if you work here, then you have to drive all the way home. No.
But on the bright side, my cons, you save a lot of money living at home.
Your pros.
Oh, just kidding. This is a pro. This is not a con. This is a very big pro. Is you could save a lot of money because you don't have to pay for dorm. You don't have to pay for meal plan. And your only, like, real expense, if you live at home, is like gas money, basically. But if you have your own place and you still commute, I still think, like, when you add everything out, it's still cheaper than living at the dorm. Because I think, like, some dorms are like $5,000 a semester.
It's probably Ascension.
Yeah, I think Ascension is like $5,000 a semester. But I think that's if you have like a scholarship. So if you don't have a scholarship, it can be quite expensive. And yeah, so I do save a lot of money being a commuter, aside from paying for gas. And with my car, I have the freedom to go anywhere I want outside of the Southeastern and Hammond bubble. And then I do feel like I have a little bit of like added privacy, not having someone in my space all the time. So yeah, that's it for me.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, girl. Tell me everything you have to say.
My pros are independence from my family. I have a big family. Being able to live on my own is beautiful. Closeness to downtown. Being able to walk, and easier access to clubs. It could be a pro and a con, but living with a roommate and everyone knowing where you are all the time. If you're not at a meeting or something, everyone knows that you live there. Why aren't you going? You live here. Not having a car, because you can't just go to the store whenever you want. You have to depend on other people, which is difficult. But not all people who live in a dorm don't have a car.
That's true. A lot of people do have their car as well.
Some people don't, but like the international students, maybe they don't have
a car too. No, they don't.
So and another pro, but my mom's con is me rolling out of bed 5 minutes before class.
That's a con for her, a dream for me, and a reality for you. Living all three.
But
yeah. That's all we have to say. Have
a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.